What's going on, sauce makers? My name is Mark and welcome to Sauce Stache. Today, we're gonna be making the classic fried donut. But I'm gonna be making this donut a little special because as you can see, I have some Flamin' Hot Cheetos and Last Dab here. So this mixture is actually Flaming Hot Cheetos in 100 proof vodka. Essentially, I'm making a Flamin' Hot Cheeto extract that we're gonna use on the glaze. So before we get started on making the crazy spicy toppings for this donut, let's just make the basic raised yeast donut. They're pretty simple to make and they're really good. And all you need is 4 1/4 cups all-purpose flour, 2 eggs, 8 tablespoons or 1 stick melted butter and cooled, 1/4 cup sugar, 1 1/4 cups milk warmed to about 90 degrees, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 package of active dry yeast, and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. So the first thing that we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna take our warm milk and about half of the sugar and then add our yeast to the milk. Then we're gonna let this bloom for about 5 minutes. So after about 5 minutes, you can see that the yeast has frothed on top of the milk. I'm gonna transfer this into a little bit larger bowl, and then we're going to mix everything else together. So add your melted, cooled butter, the rest of your sugar, salt, and nutmeg. And now we're going to add our eggs. Give those a nice little whisk together. And then we're gonna combine everything. So just add this into your flour. I'm gonna make kind of like a little will, and then you're gonna wanna use a spatula or something to mix this together. So once we feel like we have it mixed together pretty well, we're just gonna use a pinch more flour on your surface. Not a whole lot because this has to remain pretty tacky. It's gonna be a wet dough. Let's go ahead and turn this out. And then we're just gonna kind of knead this for about 3 minutes, 5 minutes. So after about 3 minutes, you should have a pretty tacky dough. It will kind of bounce back just a little springy, but it's gonna be sticky and tacky, but it won't pull apart. It will hold itself in. So I'm gonna spray a little bit of oil into a clean bowl. We're gonna add our dough ball, cover this guy up, and let it rise over the next hour. Okay, so this guy has doubled in size. I mean, look at the size of that monster. That's amazing. Oh, this is exciting. It smells so good too. Oh, I love that smell. Okay, so then our next step is to roll this guy out. Just wanna make sure our surface is really nicely floured. And we're also gonna wanna make sure that our rolling pin is really nicely floured. Roll this guy out of here. Look at that, perfect. Okay, so all we're gonna do is we're gonna roll this to about 1/2 inch thickness is what we want. And you can see this is really soft dough. I'm gonna use one of these cutting boards. This cutting board is exactly 1/2 inch thick. So just so I can get a good idea and it's nice and even. So now our next step is to cut. So I don't have a donut cutter, but there's plenty of things laying around your house that you can cut donuts with. This is about a 3.5 inch lid ring off of a mason jar. And then I'm gonna use a dry, clean water bottle to cut the donut hole out of the center. Now the nice thing is you can puff these out, and then there is our donut. I'm gonna place this to the side and then cut all these out, and that's it. Now your leftover dough, you can gently knead this together. You don't want to overwork it. Let this rest for a few minutes to let the gluten relax. Let's pop out these donut holes. So we're just gonna lightly dust these with a little bit of flour and then cover them up with a kitchen towel. We're gonna let these rest for another 45 minutes. Okay, now that we're waiting for our donuts to rise, we're gonna finish making our Flamin' Hot Cheeto extract. Okay, so like I said, these guys have been sitting inside this bottle for a few weeks with some 100 proof vodka. So I'm gonna use a mesh strainer with a little bit of cheesecloth to start off. I'm going to pour the Flamin' Hot Cheetos mixture with the Cheetos into the cheesecloth. Now this should have a pretty unique flavor. I'm hoping it tastes like Flamin' Hot Cheetos. We're gonna go ahead and just squeeze this through. And then just to make sure that any of the oils that got squeezed out of the Cheeto remains behind, we're gonna strain it one more time, but instead of through a cheesecloth, we're gonna use a coffee filter. And then last, while we're waiting, let's make some Flamin' Hot Cheeto powder. I love these things. Now, I'm not making that much Flamin' Hot Cheeto powder because we're only making one of these donuts as the spicy donut. The other donuts are just gonna be regular, plain, good glazed donuts and chocolate donuts. Okay, so the donuts have about 10 minutes left. We're gonna get the fryer ready to go to get these guys fried. I'm gonna use my old Grandpappy fryer. It's gonna get the oil to about 365, which is about what we want. Now, you don't need a deep fryer to do this. Usually I would use a large Dutch oven on the stove. Fill it about 1 inch fill with oil. That way when you put these in, you can flip them over pretty easy. Flamin' Hot Cheeto extract. Man, I'm excited about this one. Okay, so this is at 360. I'm gonna start back here with some of these good ones here. These are raised perfectly. And I'm just gonna lower them in one at a time into the oil and let them go for about 30 seconds. And then we're gonna flip. It should be nice and golden, which is what we want. I mean, they're looking beautiful already. And 30 more seconds each side, and that's it. Now I'm just gonna use this little rack here, kind of place each donut on the rack. They should dry off pretty quickly. Look at how beautiful these are gonna be. Oh my God, I'm excited. And you can see how quick these go. I mean, super, super simple. So we're gonna get our glaze made while we're frying the donuts. And the glaze is literally just 2 cups of confectionery powdered sugar and then 1/2 cup of milk. And that's it, that's our glaze. So for our spicy glaze, we're going to drop just a little bit in there. We want enough to do at least 1 donut. Then we're gonna add about 1/2 teaspoon, you know what, do a whole teaspoon of the Flamin' Hot Cheeto extract. Just gonna give that a quick mix together. Then just for some fun, I'm gonna add a drop or 2 of red food coloring. To make this, I'm gonna do one of the hot donuts. And I'm gonna just stick this guy in here. Make sure it's completely covered in the glaze. I'm gonna bring up my donut dripper. And this is gonna be the guy where I'm going to hang some of these donuts to dry. And then while the glaze is still pretty wet, I'm gonna coat 1/2 of this in the Flamin' Hot Cheeto powder. And then let's get this guy drying up. And then the rest of these we can kind of just drop in the glaze, both sides, one side, whatever you want to do. They're good if you get them glazed across the whole donut. These are gonna be so good. I seriously cannot wait for this. Just gonna let that drip back into the glaze there. Should have done that right off the bat. So these last few I'm gonna leave unglazed and I'm gonna make the chocolate ganache next. I'm gonna drop all these donut holes down in here. They're little donut holes, but they'll be good. I mean, you just can't beat this. Look at this. Okay, for the ganache, we have 1 cup of milk and 1 tablespoon of butter. We're gonna bring these guys to a boil in a saucepan. Then in a separate container, we're gonna mix together 8 ounces of dark chocolate, 1 cup of confectionery sugar, a pinch of salt, about, I don't know, 1/2 teaspoon or so. And then now that this is at a boil, we're gonna mix this into the bowl here. Just gonna let that sit for about a minute. It's gonna melt and then we're gonna whisk it together. Should have a beautiful chocolatey ganache. So we're gonna let this cool for just a minute. We'll start dipping some donuts. I'm actually going to pour in a separate bowl a little bit of the ganache because this mix is going to be our last dab mix. So this is going to get about 1 last dab, which I'd say is about a teaspoon. This stuff's hot. Oh my God. Okay, so we need to take our Flamin' Hot Cheeto donut and we're gonna drop our Flamin' Hot Cheeto donut. And I'm thinking Flamin' Hot Cheeto side up, maybe? I don't know, do you think it should have like a few Flamin' Hot Cheetos across the top of it? Yeah, just like that. Oh my God. Look at this thing, look at this thing. This is the last dab Flamin' Hot Cheetos donut. This is gonna be crazy good and scary. I'm gonna give it a bite. I got some my milk here. Whew, okay. Oh, it's really good actually. It's really freaking hot. Oh my God. Oh, it's good. That is good. Oh, look at the inside of that donut. That is like a perfect, cakey, perfect donut. Oh my gosh. Okay. Amazing. Oh, really hot. My mouth is burning. Let me get just a sweet hole. Okay, sauce makers, well, this is what I got. The last dab, Flamin' Hot Cheetos donut. Make some regular donuts. These are awesome. Hopefully what you took away from this is how to make some regular, really awesome glazed donuts. And then the fun part is that you could top it with whatever you want and make it with whatever you want. Now, I asked a few YouTubers if they would help me out on the recipe with this, what they thought might be a good idea. So I'm gonna link a few channels below. Make sure you check those guys out. Whew. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. I'm sweating now. Please click the like button and leave a comment down below. What are you gonna make on your donuts? Do something interesting and fun. Let me know. I would love to hear your ideas. And if you haven't yet, you're new here, click the subscribe button and click the little bell so that way you get notified every time I upload a new video. So thanks again for watching. Hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you later. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the rest of this one. Whew.